Well met, friends. Welcome to another book review. I haven't done one in a while, and these are been what I'm reading right now. And this is the first time that I have been reading Lord of the Rings. And you know what? I talked about that on my Twitter, and I did get a little bit of nerd sass from people. And you know what, Regina George? Not everybody had access to these books as a young child. Not everybody had parents who read things like this. You know, just have a little sensitivity, okay? I didn't actually know about the Lord of the Rings stories until the movies started coming out, and so it was a surprise for me that they were actually books, and now I'm finally getting to read them. Okay, so let it be known that this book was published in 1965, and was sold for 95 cents. And if you have not read a lot of fiction from before that time, if you only read a lot of modern fantasy and modern things, I am here to help you. I am here to warn you. It is a little bit different. Now, there are a few things that caught me off guard, and I'm not saying these are like criticisms of J.R.R. Tolkien. Like, I'm not here to drag Lord of the Rings. I'm not here. That's not what's happening right now. There are a few things that I thought were different. Specifically, these books seem to be about 75% descriptions of places and woods, locations, forests, plains. It is a lot of that. There's quite a lot. And part of that is actually kind of great because it allows you to sort of immerse yourself really in this beautiful world, these like woodlands and these little shires it's just beautiful. But as somebody who reads a lot of modern fiction, it does tend to go on. It seems like, wow, this is a very, very long description of like this road or these plains that we're on right now. My God, why is this going on for so long? Part of that is that I'm very impatient. And so I'm not here to drag Tolkien. I'm just saying there's a lot of it. So be prepared for descriptions of locations. Also, there's a lot of older words for descriptions of places that just caught me completely off guard. So if you are a younger person and you are unfamiliar with these books, come with Google attached to you, because here are just a few words that I had to look up in order to even have any idea what the heck he was trying to describe as far as locations. Dale, steppe, Entwash, vale, league, westering, dingle, and this one I don't even know how to pronounce. Bivouac. Bivouac. I don't know. I still don't know what it means. That's the last one. I haven't looked that one up yet. So there's also a lot of descriptions of different types of trees. And if you don't know your trees, a lot of this is going to be lost on you. So specifically, I so far have had to look up rowan trees, chestnut trees, and birch trees to know what the heck he is talking about. He really likes trees. He likes nature, and that's great. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. But there's a lot of it, so The other thing that's quite different from modern fiction is the way people talk to each other, and the way people sort of interact in the words that they say. I think in modern fiction, we go for something that's a lot more natural to us, and most likely because modern fiction is often looking to be made into a movie, and so it needs to, you a lot of the time when you're visualizing it, you're visualizing sort of a movie in your head, whereas with this, you're visualizing more of like a play in your head, I would imagine. A lot of the dialogue is just very flowery and stiff, kind of strange. Except for the hobbits, who actually speak often like a very natural, sort of folky way to talk, but specifically like Gandalf and Aragorn, they tend to be a little like, forsooth, what I bring him hither to blah, blah, blah. It's just, speaking of the way people talk, there is quite a lot of singing in these books. Quite a lot. So much. You can tell it is in here in these like paragraph things that are in italics, and many of them they're beautiful. Like they are beautiful, and many of them are different languages and that he's made up, which is super cool. But if you can't carry a tune I can't visualize in my head like music, because I suck at music and I don't. So I'm just sort of like sing-songing along with like, okay, I guess this is a song. Da, 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 da. It feels very weird to me. And again, it just seems strange that people burst into song as frequently as they do in these books. It's very different. Different. Not bad. Don't come for me. It's just different. I am currently reading The Two Towers, which I have to say, I think I so far like Fellowship a bit better, just because it's sort of a rich, more cohesive story. But I mean, it's the middle child of the series, and you know, what are you gonna do, right? Again, really beautiful descriptions of places and locations, so much of that, and lots of singing, quite a lot of singing. The only thing I think that is a little frustrating about this book is that we keep coming back to the same situations. We see what happens to Pippin and Merry, and then we see Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli following them and then figuring out all the things we already know, and then asking questions about stuff we already know, and then telling other people about stuff we already know. And then, you know, so there's a lot of that, like keep going back to the same thing over and over again, wondering how could we possibly know about the stuff that the reader has already seen and knows. So that can be a little frustrating, but they're great stories. I mean, I love Lord of the Rings. I would have to say that I do like I like the movies better, like just because they're easier for me to sort of understand and get engrossed in the story. But this is such a cool like piece of history, you know. I haven't read Return of the King yet, but I still have it. It also makes me really impressed with Peter Jackson when I read these books and see how he, like the choices that he made in order to make these books more applicable and accessible by modern people. And that's really impressive. Like I remember when the first movie came out and I saw it in theaters, and everybody was sort of grouching that he'd removed Tom Bombadil and the whole thing with Tom Bombadil. But I can completely see why, because from a filmmaking standpoint, it comes out of nowhere and then is gone, and then that's it. Like they have a conversation about it. Rivendell is like, oh, he can't help us. He just can't leave his realm because he's a forest spirit or whatever. That's it. Like that, it just comes out of nowhere and adds nothing. So it would have been very, very weird for the movie, and a lot of other things that that add tension to the movie, like the relationship between Gimli and Legolas. I really like that they're sort of pissy at each other for longer in the movies than they are in the book. In the book, they're like pissy because of issues between dwarves and elves for like a minute, and then they're like, we're besties. I like the fact that it just sort of comes and grows over the series. And I do like Arwen. I'm sorry you guys hate Arwen. I'm sorry you hate Liv Tyler. I don't hate Liv Tyler. I'm happy that she was in the movie. You can deal with it. I like Arwen, even though Eowyn's cooler. I'm sorry. These are good books. They're very, very different from modern fiction. So be prepared for that if you want to read them. I recommend them. They're very cool. I'm going to read Return of the King too. I'm going to read so many more descriptions of places and things and trees. So in the comment section, I'd be really interested to know what you noticed about the books and the movies and what you think that they should have added or didn't add, whatever. I'd like to know that down in the comments below. And I have a Patreon. You can check that out. That really helps keep the channel afloat. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll talk to you later. Bye.